As somebody who, I've had a lot of opinions about this, there have been a few times I've been canceled. You know, one time I didn't even know it happened, so I didn't know that I was a bad boy. I only found out about like a couple days later after I got canceled, and at that point it kind of already wore off, so it didn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and watch this, and we're going to see what it is. Here we go. See his new Diablo 4 gameplay out? Yeah, I'm going to watch it after this, okay?
That's not an attack to just stop the Oscars. That's an attack to end me.
But the past is relevant with you with underage girls.
Absolutely no, it's not.
Fair. I think
I'm
we
sorry.
can always hold our.
I'm sorry.
I love how people are like, bro, I'm getting canceled. Bro, you're a groomer. You broke the law. What do you mean you're getting canceled? It's like some bank robber is getting arrested after they find out that he's got a bunch of marked fucking dollars. He sells them back to some other person, and he's like, bro, I'm getting canceled. Like, this cancel culture shit is, yeah, I'm getting in the car. Yeah, this cancel culture shit is out of control, guys. Like, what the fuck? God damn. It's like people overuse getting canceled. Bitch, you broke the law.
Also putting a hierarchy over who can be offended. Now I'm offended.
The story that was being told about me won, even though it wasn't true.
That's not activism. That's not bringing about change.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
Someone somewhere in the world will find what you say offensive. So what? Who cares? Someone tweets a little joke and
let's watch it.
Their life is ruined and they get fired from their job. That's awful.
The origin story.
So I wanted to start this documentary by defining the term cancel culture. It's the practice of publicly rejecting, boycotting, or ending support for people because of their morally unacceptable views or actions. Basically, it's a modern form of ostracism, which means to exclude or banish from a group or society, which dates back to ancient Greece.
This is Sparta!
Athenian leader Cleisthenes created the punishment of banishing people to prevent a single person from becoming a tyrant.
Saddam Hussein's pride.
Where's Kanye?
Joseph Stalin dominated the Soviet Union.
The way they would do this is similar to our modern day elections, only no one wants to win this one. Citizens of Athens would write the name of their candidate on a piece of pottery.
I feel like, yeah, like we've always had cancel culture. Like, one narrative I want to make sure that we don't have is that you want to hear an element of cancel culture? This is this weird thing that we used to do for cancel culture. It was called the Salem witch trials, okay? And so if you had too many cats, that's probably, yeah, she's probably a witch. So, yeah, I mean, we've always, yeah, set her on fire. Like, let's just set her on fire, see what happens.
6,000 votes would be cast, and the person with the largest number of votes would be banished for 10 years.
I like that. That's really good. So maybe we could do something like, maybe Elon Musk should have something like that on Twitter, where like there's a Twitter vote where like the top 5 most annoying accounts on the website would get voted off every year. The only problem is that if I know that if he did that, everybody would vote him off immediately. Even his own fans would do it because of the meme. They would do it just because it's fucking funny.
If they refused, they were sentenced to death. But here's the kicker. When they came back after their time was served, it was as if nothing ever happened. Their citizenship was still theirs, and the people of Athens welcomed them back with open arms. I don't know if the same can be said about cancel culture today. Now, the term cancel culture is everywhere.
Cancel culture.
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 It first started roughly around 2017 after the idea of canceling celebrities for problematic behavior became popular.
Nah, this was way before then. This started happening in like 2010. And I feel like a lot of people don't have the context for this. Yeah, well, yeah, Kanye, I don't think is on this one. And maybe he was. I wasn't really paying attention. But anyway, it's like obviously Obviously, this has always happened. Like, it happened to Mel Gibson back in the day. He was first. Oh, I wasn't even really paying attention at that point.
Merriam-Webster
Tia
correlated
Tequila,
the rise
yeah.
of cancel culture with the Me Too movement.
Hi, my name's Tarana Burke, and I'm the founder of the Me Too movement.
Thousands of women are using.
I think that's so dumb. I really dislike that because it compartmentalizes getting canceled into like women who have had like bad experiences with men or things like this. I think that it causes people to take it less seriously.
Using 2 words on social media to identify themselves as survivors of sexual harassment and assault.
This is global.
Then, it gained more steam. Google Trends show that there was almost no search for the phrase cancel culture until...
Well, that's not really... I mean, people didn't have a phrase... They didn't call it cancel culture whenever reporters lost their job for questioning the Iraq war or the invasion of Afghanistan or Iraq or fucking any of those, Libya or any of these places. Like, but yes, this absolutely happened. Just because we didn't call it cancel culture back then didn't mean that it didn't exist. This absolutely has existed. And before that, we had McCarthyism. Before that, we had a bunch of other shit too, like Salem witch trials, fucking church things like that. Joan of Arc, she got canceled. That didn't go very well. I'm pretty sure they didn't call it cancel culture back then.
2018. Soon after, celebrities including Taylor Swift and Kanye West were being canceled.
There we go.
Writer Jonah Bromwich explained that almost everyone worth knowing has been canceled by someone. And finally...
I think that's probably true. Yeah, he's right about that. Most people, there's somebody out there that doesn't like them. That's effectively what they're saying. Primo, thanks for the 10 subs. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's accurate.
The best definition of canceled was posted on Urban Dictionary. So if cancel culture started as a means to punish people who've done regrettable things, then what's so bad about it?
I really dislike the narrative that this video is pushing by putting somebody like R. Kelly in the video. I think that this is it's not a very good example because like R. Kelly is literally a molester. He's a predator. And he broke the law in many ways. And I think that is totally different than somebody saying something that is racist 5 years ago. Totally fucking different in my mind. Yeah, he's a literal sex offender.
A young boy, R. Kelly, is accused of abusing
anti-Kelly rallies outside of Sony Music headquarters in New York.
Comedian and actor Kevin Hart is stepping down from his duties.
I have made the choice to step down from hosting this year's Oscars.
Been apologize for your tweets of old. We're going to have to move on to find another host.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
There are 2 cases I want to bring up.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the timeline of R. Kelly's demise. In 1994, he married Aaliyah. The catch is, in 1990...
It's like, bro, if that's not self-snitching, I don't know what is. Honestly, I don't know what is. Like, that is like, bro, it's right there in front of you.
1994, he married Aaliyah. The catch? He was 27 and Aaliyah was 15 years old, but faked being 18 on the wedding certificate. In 2002, he had 2 other court cases which involved illegal acts with minors, and the cases were settled with R. Kelly paying a lot of money to cover them up.
Jesus.
In the same year, he was charged with 13 counts of producing illegal child videos, although
bro,
there
like,
wasn't enough...
What's so crazy about this is I remember I watched like a video. It was like, you know, like you watch a documentary on like Charles Manson or like Jeffrey Dahmer. I guess now they made that into a whole series. And but this is like a documentary about all the bad shit that R. Kelly did. And I looked at it and it was like episode 1 of 7 or 9. It's like you made an entire season documentary about this. This shit's as long as Game of Thrones. And it's just one dude.
Evidence to find him guilty. Gloria Allred, the lawyer who represented several of his victims, explained that of all the predators I have pursued, R. Kelly is the worst. Finally, in 2018, R. Kelly was canceled. #mute R. Kelly. Now, let's take a look at the second case.
How you doing, Kevin? How are you, big dog?
What's up, fam?
All right, Kev, you're the man.
In July of 2009, Kevin Hart sent out a series of tweets regarding homosexuality. Fast forward to almost 10 years later, on December of 2018, Kevin Hart was announced as the Oscars host. Within hours, Twitter users began reposting Kevin's old tweets and jokes, saying that he never apologized for them, therefore should not be allowed to host the Oscars. Articles upon articles were being formed about Kevin being homophobic and unwilling to apologize for it. And
why not just apologize? I mean, that's the thing is, like, I think these are like two way different things. Number one, like Kevin Hart and R. Kelly. R. Kelly belongs in jail. Come on, yeah, like he belongs in jail. Like that's like this is not, you're not getting canceled, bitch. This is the law. Number one. Number two, with Kevin Hart, I do think that it's fair. Like if you're a gay person, that it would make you uncomfortable if somebody was hosting the Oscars that has genuine resentment against gay people. Now, making a joke about it is one thing. Kevin Hart is a comedian, okay? I'm not saying that he's not. But it depends on, like, what kind of joke it is. Because, like, you guys know, like, the kind of jokes that, like, actually racist people tell, and it's like, hey, well, you know, well, I'm not going to say one, right? But you know what I'm saying. Is, like, it's not even really funny. It's just, like, talking shit about a minority. Yeah, we're not going to say it. Please do. No, bro. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, as I said, 20-year veteran of the internet, okay? I know every joke and every fucking word people can use, all of that. Actually, I do not know all of them. My dad knows more than I do. But, you know, besides that, he, you know, he's told me many of them as well, too, from, like, whenever he was growing up. Back in the day, my dad, you know, this sounds fucking nuts to think about, but, like, my dad told me that, like, whenever he was growing up, they had water fountains for, like, white gentlemen and black men. Straight up. That was my dad growing up in Florida. Isn't that crazy? Difference between jokes and blatant racism? Yeah. And, like, for example, like, if I tell a joke and it upsets somebody, I would tell them it's a joke. You know, it's like, it's not an apology. By telling somebody it's a joke, it's not a big deal, right? Like, you're not apologizing to them, but at the same time, if you say something's a joke, it means that you don't mean it. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's two very different things.
On that note, Kevin Hart stepped down from hosting the Oscars and proceeded to apologize. And apologize.
I had to address it when I did Get Hard promo with Will Ferrell because of my joke that I had about my son.
And apologize.
I had to address those tweets in 2012.
And apologize.
I think the reason why he apologized so many times is because everybody wants to, like, this cancel culture and, like, the fucking, like, the vitriol that it creates is, like, really great engagement for people. So they want to have a sound clip of Kevin Hart talking about why he said gay people are bad. You see what I mean? Because that's good for their, it's good for their interview. It's good for their show. So people acting in self-interest will create this outcome. It's not even about an ideology.
For your tweets of
apologizing is a mistake? No, it's not. The thing is, if you're actually sorry for something that you did, like, I've done things that it's like, I would say, like, that was just dumb. Like, I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why I said that, right? It's whatever. Like, that's my bad. Like, that's it. I feel like the longer that you spend making an apology, the worse it gets. That's it. Yeah, the worse it gets. Like, if you just say, yeah, like, yo, I fucked up. That's my bad. Sorry. That's it. Yeah. Because you don't need to worry about it.
This is not the first time this has come up. I've addressed it. It's onion, so no matter how many times you keep peeling it, there is no end to it. I apologize again. I said I apologized before.
Did Kevin Hart deserve that backlash just as much as R. Kelly did?
Obviously not. R. Kelly's a literal sex offender marrying underage girls. Kevin Hart made a bad joke. Like, this is a fucking course not. How's this even a question?
One problem with cancel culture is that it cannot be monitored. In a criminal justice system, the aim is to judge a crime fairly and create a punishment that matches the crime. And while it's judge a crime fairly and create a punishment...
Bruh. Damn, bro. Holy shit. This is where Fulcrum got his video ideas from. Right here. Yeah, faded than a hoe. Right here. I hate whenever people come in and say that shit randomly, but I will absolutely say, like, this is it. Yeah. You smoke? Fucking lights it up, shall we? There it is. Oh my god. Just right there on the fucking stand. Holy shit. Anyway, yeah, obviously, like, the court of public opinion is really bad. And the way that court of public opinion works is harmful for a lot of people. Because for a lot of people, it's more important for them to be right than to be accurate. Didn't you say the moment you apologize, it makes you vulnerable to lose? The best apology is just to keep making better content. Why does he need to apologize making jokes? I'm just genuinely asking, though. Well, I think that the reason why is that there's never going to be a 1 or 2 paragraph thing that I say that's just like, oh, okay, this is the way the world works now. I think that, yes, whenever you apologize for something, sometimes it does make you vulnerable, but other times it's not that big of a deal. You can apologize for something, and it's like, yeah, it's my bad. I shouldn't have done that. That's all there is to it. I think it's mainly apologizing for something that you're not actually sorry for. Because if you apologize for something that you're not sorry for, you'll probably end up doing it again. And then whenever you do, those people will be even more mad at you after you gave them the power. But yeah, public opinion, and I mean, there's a reason why it's the court of public opinion and not just the court. There's a reason why it's called mob justice and not justice. It's because it's not fair. And it never is.
Punishment that matches the crime. And while it's not perfect, when you compare that to cancel culture, I think the point is clear. The crime doesn't usually match the punishment. I'm not saying that Kevin Hart has never been at fault. He said things he regrets, but he's learned from them. He has rebuilt his reputation and vowed to never make those jokes again. My friends, some of the best lessons we ever learn, we learn from our mistakes. But does cancel culture allow us to do that?
I want to apologize to the internet. I owe you an apology.
I'm only here to say that I'm so sorry.
Sorry for anybody who I've ever offended.
I apologize so deeply.
I want to make this video to say sorry to everyone.
Continue to grow and mature.
I do think that there are a lot of people out there that do make mistakes, and then a lot of them, like, they do feel bad about it, and people keep bringing it up and hating on them for it. Like, yeah, this absolutely happens. It happens regularly. Yeah, sure. Like, it's not crazy. Of course that's what happens. Freedom of speech. I mean, oh, Nick, thanks for the raid. Thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't see that until now. Thank you very much. Just montage the fakest apologies. I don't give a fuck about that, whether the apology is real or not. It doesn't matter to me. Like, the point is that mainly because of Twitter, well, it's like in LSF. I think LSF is a really good example of this, is like whenever somebody does something that is disagreeable, every single thing that they had previously done that was also disagreeable is brought up in the comments and people start talking about it. And like this happens on Twitter. It's just like, I mean, this is with users. I'm just using a good example because that's a place that I think a lot of people are familiar with here. But like Twitter is the same thing, is that people will constantly bring up and like bring up all of the old baggage every single time. And it's just unfortunate, but that's the way people go. And the truth is, like, yes, it's bad whenever that happens. But at the same time, like whenever you're a public figure, whenever you make content online, that's what happens. Yeah, Kevin Hart's not been canceled. He just made a movie and released a new comedy special. R. Kelly wasn't canceled. He was criminally prosecuted. Yeah, I agree with that. Free speech, define it. It's money. Well, I mean, I don't want to define it. All I'm saying, we're striking balance on between identifying stupid cancels and sound cancels. Yeah, there are a lot of people that get canceled for good reason.
Who are they to tell me what I can and can't do?
I mean, we're better to...
Well, that's the thing, is that they're nobody, and that's why Quentin Tarantino still makes great movies like Django Unchained that are massively politically incorrect. They have like really, really like super intense themes to them. People like he literally used the N-word with the hard R in Pulp Fiction. Nobody gives a fuck about it. And then Ricky Gervais goes up and was at the Oscars. He calls everybody in the audience fucking pedophiles or groomers or something really bad or stupid. And everybody claps for him. And then he just keeps going. Yeah. So it's just, you can't get canceled. The only way you can get canceled truly, there are two ways that a person can be truly canceled. Number one is if you get deplatformed. Number two is if you become a version of yourself that is not true to what your audience believes you to be. Like Boogie is an example of this.
Hear different ideas and argue.
As the cultural shift toward political correctness has swept through our society, the expectation for us now is to be socially aware. People broadcast their every thought, and we hold people accountable for what they say online, but it doesn't really work that way. The main issue with cancel culture is that it does not allow people to learn from their mistakes. Individuals are more
often... People don't want to have somebody else learn from their mistakes. They just want to find somebody to burn at the stake. That's it. I don't know why this is such a hard concept for people to understand. We've been doing this ever since ancient Greece. This is nothing that's new. And by the way, this is the first time that it was recorded that it happened, was in ancient Greece. Before that, everybody did it before then too. Like, I'm sure that all the cavemen would get together, and then one day, Grug, nobody really liked him. We think that his head has demons in them, and so we're going to break his head open so the demons leave our camp, and that way it will rain again. And guess what happens? Everybody gets their clubs out, and Grug is dead. I can guarantee you that shit happened.
Often did not shunned and no longer supported, no matter the apology. But as humans, we need to make mistakes to grow. In a recent study, Gabriela Stoya looked at math classrooms to consider the impact of mistake-friendly versus mistake-unfriendly environments. They found that when students perceived their classroom as accepting of mistakes, they worked harder. But in a mistake-unfriendly environment, they just felt fear.
Yeah, I think that's true. I do think that like the amount of like Twitter outrage and stuff like that does have a chilling effect on the way that people want to talk online, the way people want to get into different topics online. Absolutely, this is true. It gets people to not want to talk about certain things or say certain things or anything like that. And they'll like be afraid to talk about certain topics, etc. Like people, you see this all the time on my stream whenever I will say something that is, politically incorrect, or, I'll paraphrase what somebody else is saying that's bad, and people will be like, oh, clipped, canceled, like, and everything. And like, I will sometimes see actual attempts at people doing this to me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this absolutely happens. So like, it is malicious. Absolutely, it's malicious. It's bad. This video is stupid because it makes clear difference between making mistakes on math homework and making a mistake calling black people monkeys. Like, what? Well, I think listen, it is not hard to understand what he is saying. He's saying that because cancel culture can be so powerful online and people are so vitriolic, it causes every other user online and content creators to be afraid and paranoid all the time because they never know whenever it's going to be their last day on the internet. You see what I'm saying? Like, I get what he's saying.
I think we can all agree that if someone does something unacceptable, they should be held accountable. But at this point, there's a fine line between...
I don't necessarily agree that somebody needs to be held accountable to that kind of stuff. I mean, like, who are you to hold somebody else accountable? Like, you're just a random ass person. So I don't think that's, nobody. Yeah, exactly. You're nobody. So like, I don't like this idea that like people in the world need to be accountable or anything like that.
Accountability and bullying. What's disturbing about canceling is that it allows people to hide behind a screen and openly humiliate a person with the support of thousands or sometimes even millions.
A 12-year-old classmate jumped to her death a month ago. A sheriff in Florida has arrested 2 girls ages 12 and 14 on felony charges of aggravated stalking in a case of cyberbullying.
Here's the summarized definition of cyberbullying according to stopbullying.gov. It takes place over digital devices and can occur on social media and forums. It includes posting harmful or false content about someone causing humiliation. If you ask me, that sounds pretty close to canceling.
When people say... I don't really think so. I mean, it's because, like, with, like, Kevin Hart and, like, R. Kelly, like, all this stuff actually happened.
I hope you
die.
That's
way different.
Somebody should kill your family. It is online bullying.
I don't think anybody is saying that, like, telling Kevin Hart or even R. Kelly that, like, that somebody should kill their family. Like, nobody is getting behind this. I think that we all can agree that, like, whenever you're trying to, like, whenever you're not happy about what a person does and you're expressing that, most of the people that are expressing that they're not happy about what a person does, they're not on the side of the people that are saying stuff like that. Like, most of the time, those people are just psychos that just show up because they are psychos and that's what they want to do.
Bullying is an emotional response, not a logical one. When you're angry, you post these hurtful things and encourage others to take action on it too. It violates the principle that our justice system is built upon, innocent until proven guilty. But the difference...
I do agree with this. I think that there are a lot of cases whenever people get accused of doing something online and it's not true, but everybody hears about it and they get mad and they just assume that it is true. Yes, you are guilty before you are innocent online. You are perceived to be guilty immediately. Yeah, this
between
is true.
Bullying and canceling is that people who cancel others believe that they're doing the right thing.
Oh yeah,
they stand up for the injustices they see on social media and don't even question if it's real or fake or if it's something they even fully understand. Because if it's on the internet, then it must be true and you shouldn't question it, right?
Fake news, we live in a fake world, points out.
You are fake news.
Misinformation.
Misinformation.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Yeah, people get canceled for things that aren't true all the time. There was a whole trial about it earlier this year. Yeah, this is true.
In 1951, students of Swarthmore College participated in an interesting experiment. Students were asked to complete a seemingly easy task. Each person in the room had to say out loud which comparison line was most like the target line. But the catch was, everyone in the room was in on the experiment except for the last person. The answer was obvious, but the people in on the experiment would always choose the wrong line. So what did the real participants do?
Definitely C.
C.
After 12 trials, 75%...
What the fuck are you talking about? It's C. You crazy? Yeah, it's a gaslighting experiment. Well, people have, like, such a strong desire to fit in and be part of the group. So it makes sense that this is going to happen. Of course.
Of real participants conformed to the group and at least once gave the wrong answer. And in the control group with no pressure to conform, only less than 1% of participants gave the wrong answer. Conformity is ingrained in our human nature. In order to survive, we must live in a community. But what's different about our current generations is that we are not just connected to a small community, but now the entire world through social media. Bad news spreads like wildfire, but as we've seen in the study, it spreads even if it's fake.
He's professor at Evergreen State, and he called the race-based demand, quote, a show of force and an act of oppression.
Read your letter, and your letter didn't sound racist at all. It sounded very well thought out. The inflammatory response to your letter was so disturbing and shocking.
The administrators sided.
This always happens. Yeah, people will interpret things in a bad way. Yeah, this happens all the time.
With the protesters, even though they knew full well there was no evidence of racism. I was pursued as if I had said something egregious, allowed the world to see that this isn't about guilt at all. It's about power.
You see this happen?
I think this does happen. And I think that there are a lot of people who like the idea of being able to get together and pull somebody down who's popular. I think that the power fantasy of it is genuinely something that a lot of people enjoy. Yeah, absolutely, that's true.
In the incident of Evergreen State University's professor Brett Weinstein.
Okay.
He made national headlines for being racist.
Okay.
That's some racist. I did not. I did not.
Once a year, this university allows students of color to take a day of absence. But this time, it was flipped. Rather than telling people of color to stay away for the day, they told white people to stay away for the day. Weinstein didn't.
If you're any of your parents out here, don't send your kid to a school like this. This is like fucking nutso weird shit behavior. Like, yeah, this is, it's so fucking weird. Yeah, like, segregation enjoyers.
Believe in this flip, so he wrote a letter against the new policy. Because of this, 50 students showed up to his class protesting that he was racist.
Bearded man with his hands on his head is Brett Weinstein.
But they were wrong.
They imagine that I am a racist and that I am teaching racism in the classroom.
The story that was being told about me, in the end, won, even though it wasn't true.
His intentions were actually to help the cause because he felt that the former option of allowing students of color to stay away for the day had a more powerful impact. But at that point, no one would listen. The videos went viral.
And this does happen. Like, yeah, it definitely happens. Like, sure. Like, and also, there are examples of people who get canceled for stupid reasons, like what this guy is talking about. Like, I don't know every single thing about this, so I'm not giving this my complete approval, but it seems like it's bullshit why people are mad at him. So it's not like these things don't happen. But you can't look at one of these things that happens and say like, oh, well, because this was obviously unfair treatment, then every other example is also unfair treatment. You see what I'm saying? Just because there are bad examples of a person being kicked out of a group or kicked out of a community doesn't mean that there are also not good examples.
And after being professor for 14 years with not a single incident of racism, he was forced to leave. This is just one of the thousands of stories you can find online. There are millions of people who stand up for something they believe is moral, but in reality, they're misinformed.
Oh, this is very true. He's right about this. There's always people that are, you know, they're marching to the beat of something that's just completely fucking, it's not even true. And they just believe it no matter what. They're called a useful idiot, both right and the left. Yes, this is something that, like, I mean, yes, the people that kicked this guy out, I think they're no different than QAnon people. They're both just insane extremists that are delusional.
This is the problem of mob mentality.
Yeah.
You know.
When animals in herds are in a dangerous situation, they band closely together in a group.
Yep.
They go into panic mode and move together as one unit. It's unusual for a member of the herd to stray away. For humans, when herd behavior sets in, an individual's opinion-forming process is shut down as he or she automatically follows the group's behavior.
Yeah, of course. That makes
and as
sense.
Benjamin Franklin once said, if everyone is thinking alike, then no one is thinking.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think it's important to have people that like and have different points of view, etc. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I had the, you know, I watched the Kanye West interviews and things like that, even though I disagree with them. I think it's important to hear what other people have to say, even though it's completely wrong. I think actually what's happened over the years is that the different people have gotten excommunicated and they've created their own little echo chambers and they've just gotten progressively more and more insane. And now you have like these different sects and groups of people that are just more and more insane everywhere. It's awful.
If someone somewhere in the world will find what you say offensive, so what? Who cares?
And when someone tweets a little joke that's misunderstood and their life is ruined and they get fired from their job, that's awful.
I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that, but everyone else is kind of calculating, is this the exact right mix? To me, it's anti-comedy.
Times are changing, and with it, comedy as well.
I think the truth is, like, if you, like, just make the content, and there's going to be a lot of people that might not like it, but as long as there are people that do like it, then who gives a fuck? There's plenty of people that, like, make racist jokes all the time. Yeah, I mean, it's part of comedy. Yeah, everything is. Like, yeah, I mean, you can't just sit around and complain because not everybody thinks the joke is funny. Of course not. I think they should have the right to tell the joke, though.
The limit that someone can joke about is becoming more restricting. Yep. Comedy, whether that be stand-up or a Netflix special, requires freedom and flexibility. A comedian has two jobs: telling fantastic jokes and filling the audience with joy.
Yep.
If they worry about every little detail of a joke they make, they'll fail to be genuine. One of the best parts of stand-up is its improvisation.
Hello!
Oh yeah, whose line is it anyway? No, I think that's probably true. Like, every time that, like, whenever I'm constantly worried about getting in trouble for saying something, I'm definitely a lot less funny. Yeah, 100%.
I'm your waiter. My last name's Ryan.
What took you so long?
Don't you understand? We need some food at the table fast!
And the beauty of improv gets taken away if people feel that they're walking on eggshells. When we take a step back...
I think this is true with streaming too. Like, a lot of streamers are constantly worried about being clipped out of context and then getting banned for it. I've heard many people talk about this and complain about this in the past. It's very true. And it makes sense that this is going to happen. Of course. I think that, yeah, obviously, and the problem is that, like, you have a clip that goes out of context, and then it hits a larger audience of people that don't understand who you are, and then they don't see the context because it's intentionally withheld, and then Twitch feels like they have to do something about it. Yeah, I think this is very harmful. Absolutely.
And see the bigger picture. Our entire generation is changing. Generation Z, those ages 9 to 24, represent 1 in 5 US residents. But there's a subsection of Generation Z that's one of the most powerful and influential groups today. They're called iGen. So what makes iGen so powerful? Well, iGen stands for Internet Generation.
What do you think about people who have anxiety and panic attacks? Oh, you have anxiety and panic attacks? Like anything else, the more you go through it, the easier it tends to become. Keep putting your next foot in front of, your feet forward. That's life, That's usually how it goes.
I can't expect everybody to just completely understand it, and I don't either.
Oh,
Acknowledging that is the most important thing. Encouraging these people that you care about to actually seek proper help, seek real treatment, is something that I would promote for anyone.
They, along with young millennials, are the most organized groups on social media. They have the potential to disrupt political and social processes, and even have the ability to move the stock market.
Yeah, true. I don't think this is young people. This is just people that are on the internet. There's plenty of people that are 35 doing the exact same thing.
Receiving their mobile devices around the age of 10, they're the first generation to be born into our connected world where social media and screens are the norm. They're digital natives. Online communication is not something they had to learn. It always surrounded them, and they relate better to mass media than any other generation.
Yeah, of course.
Together, their voices are powerful, and I want to make a request to the Gen Zers and millennials out there, including myself. Don't let cancel culture be your legacy. Former President Obama warned our generation against the dangers of cancel culture. He explained that people are going overboard, condemning others all the time. Ex-president.
I think that there are a lot of people that do go over the line, and they get mad about things that are not really true, or they misinterpret things, or they make mountains out of molehills. Yeah, of course this happens sometimes, but there are also cases like R. Kelly and actual shitty people that get canceled, and I think that's fine too. So I don't think cancel culture should be looked at as like a universal thing.
President Donald Trump described something similar. The goal of cancel culture is to make decent Americans live in fear of being fired, expelled, humiliated, and driven out of society as we know it.
Yeah, I do think that's harmful. It is like whenever there's groups of people online that try to find a person's identity online and then harass them in real life. Like, this is, in my opinion, super harmful, and I think that there's no positive to it at all.
If we want to do good for our generation, let's not start with bullying, but rather with a conversation. To hold people accountable for their actions, but not push them to the brink of ending their own lives for mistakes they have already learned from.
Well, the problem is that, like, whenever you bring it up, like, a lot of the people that are like, oh, cancel culture, they want to cancel somebody. Many people are just unhappy with what the person said, and then other people with bad intentions co-opt that as to be a springboard into being like vitriolic or telling the person to kill themselves or something like that. So it's like a lot of times that it's hard to have like constructive criticism because people look for instances of constructive criticism to go and take it way too far.
If you want to make a change in the world, that change starts with no one else but you. Now go make the world a better place.
It's a decent
Visual
video.
venture.
I think that having R. Kelly in the video and like not creating that big of a distinction between the two, I think that pretty much weakened the video's message a lot. Other than that, I think that this had some L's and it had some W's overall. I do think that cancel culture is something that can happen to people, and there are a lot of cases. There's a video right there that we just got done watching. I just want to give it a like and a sub if you enjoyed it. But I mean, there's also not exclusive to cancel culture. Toxic behavior, like finding someone's address, is something we should not do in general. Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, I think that social media companies need to be really, really, really into that. Cancel culture was a thing in the 1970s, not 2017. Well, I think it's also like, it's the same as like, how are you going to say like, don't make this our legacy whenever the Greeks did this back in, like BC? Well, it's because we've always done this. This is just the way people think. This is the way people act. So it's nothing really too crazy or different besides that. I don't know. That's how I see it. It scares me how little capacity there is for actual conversation in society with an open mind. Yeah, I think that's a problem too. I absolutely do. And there's also people that they want to like misquote what you're saying or take what you're saying out of context and then attack you for something that you didn't say. Yeah, obviously all that stuff is really bad. I don't think that anybody would disagree with that.